Hello, everybody, and welcome. We have another fabulous launch to bring you today. We have Mariah Stillbrook here with the second book in her series, so we're very excited to have you here in this second book release. Can you tell us a little bit about the series as a whole?
So the Irvine trilogy starts with The Lost Irvine, and it starts with a young human who finds out she's a fairy. And most young adults would absolutely love that. 17-year-old girl, yes, take me to my homeland. That is not what Michaela Wood wants. She wants to get back to her life. She's always been ahead of herself, and she's already gone to college and finished at 17, and she wants to go to Harvard. But she has to go to this whimsical, weird fairy world where people dress in tutus and throw tomatoes when they call themselves critics. And her world completely turns upside down, but in the best way. So that's the first book. Yeah.
It's a fun series.
Yeah, it's fun, but it also gets darker with every series. So this is the book that came out today, this beautiful book. Michaela has found her fairy wand. This is where it's going to start to get a little darker because Garlandia is not free. It has been corrupted by this sickness. And part of that sickness is the ruler, King Laurel. So in this, Michaela is given a set of clues that she has to solve in order to get closer to taking him down. And there will be quite a few twists and turns. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a Mariah Stillbrook book along the way.
You really are masterful with those twists and turns because I think back to your first book with us, In the Pines, and the twists in that book were just masterfully done.
My palate cleansers are to read thrillers. So even though I don't really write thrillers, I mean, it's not out of the question for someday, but I like to put all the things in these books. And I'm one of those readers who I love to be like, oh my gosh, what's coming next?
It's kind of like on the seat, on the edge of your seat, like you're just waiting. Yeah, definitely in your books, that is definitely a theme for you when you write, and I love that about it.
Yeah.
So we have some people signing on right now on YouTube to watch, and if you are coming on, you can please subscribe to our channel for more launches like this, and like the video, and share it please with other people who would love this YA adventure. And then please type your comments, and we will get to as many comments and questions as we possibly can throughout our time here today. So we're really excited to have everyone who is watching. So this is book 2, and you said it does get darker. But I do like to think that Michaela is coming into her own in this book, in a way.
And it's just like I don't know a single person who hasn't had to walk through some kind of fire, some kind of darkness, especially in this pivotal time that she's growing 17, 18, but she's already grown up too fast.
Yes.
Now she's having to grow up so much faster, in a different way too, though, because she's like bypassed her youth, and that's what like the whimsical of this world, that the whimsical that is left, because as you'll see in book 2, it's gotten a little flipped. That whimsical of that world actually softens her, and it brings her back down, and it helps her find her youth a little bit more.
I like the fact that there's so many different elements in this book. So you have those twists and that adventure going on, but you also do have a little bit of romance in there somewhere.
It's probably the most romance I have in any of my books, because it's not usually where I go, but this one, I mean, that's part of the thing. She's never had love.
Yeah.
And she's never like had a chance to explore her sexuality. And she's not straight. She's attracted to a spirit, which, is a common theme in this series too, because elves and fairies aren't allowed to love each other.
Definitely. Well, let's see here. We have a question. So what was your favorite part of writing this book in particular?
Oh my gosh. I think the silliness. I mean, just exploring my own youth by writing this. And what did I love about the fairy tales my sister and mom used to read to me, Right. I loved that They were nonsensical, but still a little bit dark in the corners. They used to read me Little Orphan Annie all the time, and I don't know, probably my Gen Xers might remember that. The goblins. Like, the goblins are going to get you.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring that into this whole world. So
I love
watching
that.
it just kind of become not just a thought, because Michaela came to me, not necessarily Garlandia. I started to see Garlandia pop up around her, and finding that with her was super cool.
That whole character-driven kind of a book.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really driven by Michaela. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other characters that you particularly loved writing in this book?
She's not going to show up a lot yet. You will see her in book 2.
Okay.
She was in book 1, but very tiny. You blink and you miss her. Her name is Dora, and she is going to become a huge player in the 3rd book. Ooh. But she does have a role in this book as well, and she is a witch from Lantern.
Ooh, very cool.
In the forest, where little Irwines shall not go.
Very cool. I love all those elements. That is so cool. So, are you ready to read your first excerpt for us?
I am. I'm just going to wet my trap.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, everyone. I had kind of a rough week last week with sickness, and I'm still getting my voice back. Okay, I'm just going to read a little bit from the very first chapter. There is a couple chapters in this book that aren't narrated by Michaela. She's, for the most part, it's first person. So this is what I'm going to read to you today is going to be not from Michaela's voice. Toby Cohias stared out into the endless rows of knights. Around their necks hung the symbol of their kingdom, a white star-like flower. Their jaws were chiseled from stone, their expressions hard, their eyes empty. But these weren't the characteristics of all the knights in their kingdom, just the ones molded under his uncle's regime. He'd been watching it spread since the moment he'd been delivered to the throne that he was next in line to sit upon, and it was happening exactly like his mother had said it would. It was the new Aronian way. Serve not just your king, but your race. Toby wondered as he stared out into the endless formation. Were these the sons of Danka, the elfin king of the north who died many ages ago? Or were they the descendants of Danka's brother, Lonaki, the king who ruled the south? Lonaki's soul was said to have been absorbed first by the Bahidakeras, or the Age of Darkness. And Toby believed this theory wholly, for the gruel of souls that embodied that dark cloud would have first fed upon its greatest enemies. That was why they began feeding off the gods in the first place, because they knew if they could get him out of the way, there would be absolutely nothing to stop them. The Bahidakeras had done their job well, ridding the world of those embedded with the brightest light. Lonaki's descendants were now few and far between. Still, Toby had been able to find enough of these souls to build up to the task his mother had sent him forward to carry out. And the fairies? Well, there were a few bad seeds, like the recently deceased Helene Voss, non-believers of the cause. But for the most part, convincing them to join had been effortless, especially considering that it was one of their own who had the potential to end this political and spiritual catastrophe.
That's powerful. Makes you want to read more.
That's the point.
Exactly. Everyone has to go out and get this book. So, I know that you write a lot of different types of books. You've written fantasy. You've written fantasy that's more like almost paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
You've written horror. And you've also written adult and young adult. Is there anywhere where you see is like your favorite or where you think is natural for you? Or do you find that it's easy to bounce around between all of those?
I find it's pretty easy. I started out on the stage, so putting myself into different characters of different ages has always been really easy for me. It's easier for me to get into character than to be myself. So I can do that pretty easy slide from one to the next. Plus, my voice is angsty no matter what. So, because I'm an angsty Libra. So whether it's adult or young adult, you're going to get some flair and some sass.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's your author voice.
Yeah. I will say my writing's getting a little grittier, which I enjoy.
Nice.
Yeah, and I am stepping in. My current piece that I'm working on is In the Pines is a standalone book,
Mhm.
but I am throwing Easter eggs into this one, and it's called
Ooh.
Idiot Library, and it's a speculative sapphic fiction.
Oh, that sounds
Um,
fun.
yeah, so
That sounds
I'm
very
kind of
fun.
venturing off in a weird direction, but I couldn't. I mean, it had to be speculative. I couldn't go straight vanilla. It was weird. We needed some magic.
Go where the inspiration leads.
Yes. And it is
Definitely.
leading into In the Pines. Someone might
Ooh.
have to visit the cafe from
Ooh, nice.
that. Yeah.
Very nice. And in case our listeners don't know, In the Pines is Mariah's first book that she published with Creative James Media, and it is an amazing adult fantasy with some paranormal in it.
Mhm.
It's really good.
It's my practical magic meets original charmed book.
There you go. I love that.
Mhm.
It's a really good book. So if you're into adult fiction, you definitely want to pick that one up. That's an amazing book.
Yeah.
So we really enjoy it. So if anyone is watching and you have any more questions, please put them in the chat and we will ask those questions from Mariah. Um, was there any part of this book that you found difficult to write, being it's the second book in a series?
Not really. This one, so I wrote the first one and the second one, this one, pretty much one right after the other. And then I paused because I wasn't sure if I should keep going or not. Like, will it get picked up? Will whoever picks it up tear it apart? Which you guys didn't, so that was cool. So I would say actually writing the third was harder for me because I
Oh,
had spent years. I wrote these books back in like 2015, 2016.
okay.
Yeah, so it had been years, but honestly, I think it worked out really well because I had aged a few years
Mhm.
and I needed some of that life experience to write that third book because there's a lot of things that go down in the third book.
And the third book comes out in November, so we're really
Mhm.
excited for that. That'll be out this year as well.
Yeah.
So not too long of a wait, which is what people like, you know.
Yeah. I like anticipation myself, honestly.
Anticipation's fine, but you don't want to go all, Game of Thrones on people.
Yeah, or Patrick Rothfuss. I'm still mad.
Exactly. Exactly. Let that anticipation grow, but don't let it get, out of hand.
Yeah, it's written, guys. Don't worry.
It, it's already, as a matter of fact, it's at the editor right now.
It's in.
Yes, Stacy has it right now editing it. So it is actively being produced. So no worries. So would you like to read another excerpt?
Sure. Okay, so like I said, this one's not from Michaela's point of view either. I'm trying to pick places that won't give too much away, especially if you haven't read the first book. So if anybody remembers Raleigh, he has a bigger role from here on out as well. Raleigh walked into the throne room with a stifled gait. He peered around the vast space until his eyes met the frosty hair tied into a knot at the nape of the king's neck. Sir, was all he said. Sebastian Laurel was the closest thing he'd ever had to a father, and even though the king of Garlandia had never been one for affection, it was no secret amongst the guard who his favorite was. Yes, Toby was next in line, but everyone knew who Laurel had been grooming, ever since the day Raleigh had been dropped off to the castle a mere babe. The king didn't turn from the window he'd clung to. What is it, Raleigh? Michaela Wood has returned to Garlandia. I've heard. She's not alone. King Laurel hadn't moved except to breathe from the moment Raleigh entered. Still, the elf seemed to freeze, keeping his gaze to the sheet of glass separating him from the goings-on outside the castle. He moved his head so slowly in Raleigh's direction that one might have heard a creak. It is not possible for anyone to get in or out of the kingdom. Michaela was the one and only exception. Raleigh's chest rose, and his lips sealed shut only briefly before he stated back to his lord, the girl who has come with her is a descendant of Hecate. This time Sebastian allowed his eyes to burn into the figment of the sun he never had. That's nearly impossible. I know, sir. But the tracker doesn't lie, and I could smell it on her. His gait shifted and his shoulders lowered. Girl posing as Michaela Wood's friend is one of the last bloodlines belonging to the crone. He spit out his next words as if they were toothpicks. Posing as her friend. Raleigh began to dance backwards with his proposition. Perhaps posing is the wrong word. The king finally pushed away from the window, creeping toward Raleigh like a mountain lion stalking its prey. One foot moved in front of the other in a slow-paced march, the boots around his feet making no sound against the marble floor. Speak plainly. Who is this girl, and why is she here? Raleigh didn't fear this elf who he'd seen burn men to the ground by merely staring at them. In fact, he'd grown to look up to his superior. Then again, affection wasn't allowed, and he needed something to fill that void. Also, his mother had instructed him to keep himself tucked into the folds of the elf's robes. Trepidation he had not, but his wits told him to respect the magic stirring within King Royal's blood, even if it was an unnatural thing.
If that doesn't make you want to read it, I don't know what will. So this book is available in ebook and paperback wherever books are sold, and it is going to be back available on Amazon very shortly. I know that it did go out there for a little bit, but Amazon does that sometimes. So we have put in the fix and are waiting for that to be processed, but that'll be up soon. But it's up Barnes & Noble or wherever else you get your books. So that is exciting. Matt says that he loves it.
Awesome.
It is an amazing series. It's something that you really want to read. And what age would you say would be appropriate to start reading this book or this series?
It's there's a little bit of some adult themes in it. So I'd probably say, it's so hard for me to gauge because my kid's only 5 and I only really know until they get to a certain age. But I've had people ask if it's okay for an 11-year-old, and I would say, yeah, maybe just, there's no open door scenes or anything like that, but it alludes to stuff. So keep that in mind. But yeah, maybe 11, 12 up. Yep. And I've written it so adults can enjoy it as well. Think of it as like Harry Potter meets Throne of Glass.
Definitely. It's definitely a book that adults can read as well and enjoy, just like a lot of young adult books are not just for young adults.
Yeah.
So it really spans a whole age range, and it's a great book to read with your child. Mm-hmm. So you can have, those conversations and enjoy books together, which I think is so important.
For sure. And there's a really good message, about fighting back. So
definitely. And I think that's really good in our times right now.
Yes, for sure.
Definitely. It's very timely. So, well, we know that you have the ending of this series coming up in November. So that's going to be the last book in the series. And you said you are working on some other things. Do you have other things going on besides that you might be querying or putting out there that people can look for?
Nothing's like signed over and ready to go yet, but I do have another urban fantasy trilogy. That one's called Bleeding in the Dark, and that's about dragon shifters.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
It's about a hybrid witches that have to drink dragon blood. Actually, I have a little person coming in here. Oh. And the one I'm most excited about is my 90s horror called Betsy. Yeah, it's queer, it's here, and yeah, it's definitely Gen X.
Really nice. There's a lot to look forward to.
I've got this is my muse.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm working on a piece that's way out of my wheelhouse. Well, not way out of my wheelhouse, but a little more out of my wheelhouse. And I'm very much enjoying it, though.
I think that's the most important thing. When you enjoy it, it really shows in the writing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's fun. I get kind of bored writing the same stuff, but I do think there's going to be a lot more horror coming out of me because I love it. And I love 80s, 80s, 90s, that kind of horror.
Matt says you had his attention at 90s horror.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and I know that Matt also lives in Iowa, where I am from, and it is the first book I've ever based on my hometown.
Oh, nice.
So that was a lot of fun. Small Iowa town, closeted girl.
There you go. Very
Yes,
nice.
and it's
That's
about a
gonna be fun.
possessed mannequin, so oh, the irony.
That's gonna be fun to read. Well, we're really excited about everything that you have coming up, and we're really excited about this series. And this book is book 2. So book 1 is 99 cents through the end
Oh,
of this week. So you can start the series low, and then you can buy the second book that just came out today. So, and then if you don't have to wait that long, so because in November we're going to have book 3 out, and then the series will be complete. So that's all coming your way. So start today with that 99 cents for the first book, and then jump into book 2. It's already up there, and book 3 will be here before you know it. So it's all very exciting.
yes, it is.
So, Mariah, we're very glad that you were with us today. We're very excited about your series, and we will be back with you in November.
Yeah.
And all of our YouTube people, please share this video. We would like to get the word out about Mariah's books. Share it with anyone that you think would be interested in this fabulous series. And we will be back next month in the end of May with Ashley Hawthorne's romantic suspense, Beneath Calm Water. So we're really excited about that one as well. But thank you for joining us today. And yes, share and like the video and subscribe. And we hope to see you guys soon. And Mariah, congratulations.
Thank you.